regional planning division. And vacancies. Two vacancies.
Or that, yeah.
We don't need to form a staff. It uses.
It's live stream.
Okay,
I just
good to go.
good to go.
Good evening, fellow councilors, staff. And those watching at home, I'd like to call the regular meeting of council to order on Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023 at 6:10. That's being transmitted electronically via the council chambers, which are temporarily located at 38 George Street in Lake Cowichan, BC. Before we start, I'd just like to acknowledge our gathering this evening on the traditional unceded territory of the Subatts people, contiguous to other Nuu-chah nations as well. With that, we'll call the meeting to order. Introduction of late items. Yes, Councilor Austin.
Yes, I think it was sent out to us, the community engagement session 2 at the Ramada Inn on Monday, June 12th. It's the day before our next meeting, so if we could add that. I did attend the first one, and I would like to, and whoever else would like to attend the second.
So that's Cowichan Housing Association.
It's a whole bunch of different things. It's the mayors of Duncan and North Cowichan hosting, along with facilitator Marcia Turner.
And that's a housing.
It's a whole bunch of different things, their priorities, community vision, discuss governance, shared responsibilities, and integrated coordinated access.
Excellent.
There's the one report is 16 pages, the other is 96. I did not read
Did you
it.
print them for us?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Joseph.
Just the emails.
It's in
You can send you.
Oh, yes. And prior to moving on, if you do have questions, you can forward them by email to general@lakecowichan.ca. So that is questions on the items on the agenda this evening. If you have questions, please forward them to general@lakecowichan.ca. Thank you for the reminder, Mr. Fernandez. Appreciate that. Also, I'd like to add a leave of absence for Councillor Bomaka this evening. Under new business, I guess. Anything else on additions, Mr. Fernandez? Nothing. Looking for approval of the agenda as amended, moved by Councillor Frisbee, seconded by Councillor Austin. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that motion carries. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting of April 25th. Any errors or omissions? Moved by Councillor Sandu, seconded by Councillor Frisbee. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. Next is the minutes of the special meeting of council held on May 9th, 2023. Again, any errors or omissions? Moved by Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Sandu. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries as well. Moving to business arising in unfinished business. Remedial action, 63 Cowichan Lake Road update. Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, registered letters were sent out to the owners a couple of weeks ago. And one of the owners attended this office through the phone call myself and the planner, and indicated that the site would be cleaned by that weekend. That would have been 2 weekends ago. And on inspection, it appears that there is still chassis vehicles still on site. Everything else looks okay, but I'm not sure when I saw that. So he really had a chance to come to this meeting to explain why he couldn't meet the terms of the requirements spelled out to him. So obviously he decided he would get it done prior to meeting with council.
Questions or comments? Councilor Frisbee, please.
There's always a logging truck or trailer parked there. Is that anything to do with that property, or is it just someone taking advantage of that space, do you know?
The logging truck, somebody taking,
Okay, because they're sitting there working on it too, so.
yeah.
Anyone else? So moving forward, you will follow up on
We'll
that?
follow up.
Perfect, thank you very much. I see no delegations or representations on the agenda. Next up, under correspondence, we have from the Cowichan Valley Regional District on CBRD Regional Planning. Mr. Fernandez,
Asking me for my thoughts on it.
yes, please.
Yeah, I think we do well. From a planning perspective on our own, and I'm not sure that joining a regional function would, at this point, make a lot of sense.
Okay, thank you. Any input from council? I personally think that as we move forward, looking at more of a regional growth strategy as opposed to a regional planning service would be something that I would be looking forward to. How we grow within the hubs as opposed to urban sprawl, moving out into other rural areas. So that would be the process that I would be looking at. So do we need a recommendation to not participate
Yeah, that would be appropriate.
if it's the will of this body? If you are, absolutely.
Because I'm going through this again, just through to the CAO, so. What are they asking for? Like, it was a lot of,
Yeah, they basically want us to be part of their, we can still do something at home, but at the end of the day, by handing over the responsibility to the regional district, they will have a bit of more control of us.
so any of our decisions locally,
Will have to be shared with them, and, they might have a argument to not in favor of it.
okay, no, I think.
And if I may, there would be a need to authorize a function for this regional planning service, which would be another contribution to that going through the regional district possibly as well. So, yes, Councillor Frisbee.
Just reading through it, I think they're asking us for feedback on the idea once reading through it. So I don't know if we say we don't want to do with it, maybe just feedback on what we discussed here.
We could do that by.
So how would you like to word that? Anybody not interested? So I will, I'll establish some parameters, on the idea of joining a regional planning entity. Town of Lake Cowichan is not interested in participating at this time, but would rather see a regional growth strategy move forward on growth within the Cowichan Valley Regional District. Would that be appropriate? Do I have a seconder on that? Councilor Austin? Any input on that?
No.
Okay, I'll call the question, please. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion carries. Very much. Next from the Cowichan Valley Regional District is the establishment of a regional climate adaptation advisory group. So they are looking to implement an advisory group moving forward on some of the projects that have been approved under the Environment Committee, and looking for a person from this organization and perhaps a staff person. So I will put forward Councillor Sandhu as the town's representative on the Regional Climate Adaptation Advisory Group, with an alternate of Councillor Frisbee. Okay with that?
Thank you for asking.
I approached you earlier just to make sure that I wasn't blindsiding you. Okay. So both have accepted, so I'll call the question in favor. Opposed, if any. And further on in the correspondence, they are talking about a staff person perhaps. And I was discussing with the CAO whether a staff person would be appropriate and who that might be. He advised that perhaps our planner, James Van Hemert, could be the staff conduit of this committee should he need it. So we could also add that to the correspondence if you so desire. I agree. So adding James Van Hemert, if needed, as the staff representative for the town of Lake Cowichan. You're moving that, aren't you?
I'll move that. with a
And you're
comment.
seconding it.
I can do that.
I'm giving a comment.
Just if, since it'd be nice if James attended whatever meetings alongside with me or Aaron. Like, I think that's important right from the start, that we're gonna have stuff that's. Because it seems to me one or more key representatives, so.
I can add to that. Yeah, he's been attending all the meetings thus far.
Yeah.
On climate adaptation.
So it would be a contiguous representation along with elected officials. Perfect. Okay, all the question, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries, thank you. The other correspondence are just information items. Is there anything there that needs to be brought forward?
Good news.
Good news with the UBCM 2023 Fire Smart program. Would you like to speak to that one, Joseph?
Yeah, that took a fair bit of effort, my part, actually, because there were errors made along the way. Because we were looking for more than $200,000. And there was some additional errors, but we ended up with all that. But UBCM was very kind enough to help us along the process.
It's a great program, and I think it, we are one of the most productive communities for fire smart neighborhoods throughout the province, actually. So the continuation of mitigation of flammables is important with our proximity to forests surrounding us, and the implementation of interface fires is one of our most concerning items. I think this will go forward in a long way. The other ones are just for information. If everyone's okay with that?
Yeah.
Moving on to council and committee reports, committee of the whole, I believe Councillor Sandu is chairing that one.
I'd like to read out the minutes of the committee of the whole from May 9th, 2023. Recommendations were moved by Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Sandu, that the committee recommend approval of a grant in aid for 2023 to the Cowichan Lake Arts and Culture for its 2023 Summer Outdoor Concert Series in the amount of $1,000. Moved by Mayor McGonigal, second by Councillor Bomaka, that the committee recommend approval of the Lake Cowichan Fire Department's incident report in the amount of $7,298.73 for March 2023. Moved by Mayor McGonigal, second by Councillor Bomaka, that the committee recommend that the building bylaw be brought forward to the committee for review with a consideration of allowing pre-1990 homes to be permitted to be relocated within the municipalities. Moved by Mayor McGonigal, second by Councillor Bomaka, that the committee recommend that the over usage charges for utilities be rescinded as per the written request to each member of council, and that the committee recommend that the water leaks and adjustment policy be reviewed for possible amendments. Moved by Councillor Austin, second by Councillor Bomaka, that the committee recommend that approval be given for BC Hydro to install 7 metered electrical charging stations at Site 2, Saywell Park, as per Hydro's proposal. Moved by Councillor Austin, second by Councillor Bomaka, that the committee recommend that a separate protocol agreement between the Sabatts First Nation and the town of Lake Cowichan be achieved, and not one included in the Cowichan Valley Regional District. And that is.
So Madam Chair, I would like to refer CW.029-20 or 23 back to staff During the conversations on the recommendation to amend the overages, there was anecdotal comments about the previous overage that may have happened. I'm wondering if there is any correspondence as to the effect of that previous relief. Also from any staff that did attend on site. I don't think that we have seen any review of that, so I would refer this back to staff for those two, just to ensure that we are being as open and transparent as possible. And dealing with factual information on both sides. So I refer that back to staff for those two, please.
Ask a question. So would that then go back to next month's committee of the whole?
At your discretion. At this
At
body's
staff's
discretion.
No, it would be council.
Yeah,
Okay,
And it should go back to the next council.
council,
it has already been vetted
Okay.
through, yes, so. If that's appropriate with everyone at the table, I would like to see that referred back. Councillor Frisbee?
Just for clarification, because I didn't attend this meeting, the electric charging stations, which option was chosen? Are they going to be the fast charging spots beside the info center? And then the ones in the parking lot, so it's two separate.
There are no, if I may, there are no chargers inside Saywell Park because of the gated
Right.
portion that may have to be closed. Other options, BC Hydro wanted them open 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
So the outside portion was chosen as the site.
Which is behind, so Point Ideal entrance, so that's where they're all going to be.
Yes. Okay. Call for question on that. All in favor?
all in favor?
Oh, you know what you're doing, that's fine. Thank you very much. Moving on, Caution Lake Recreation Commission. The Councillor Sandwood, please.
Thank you. So we had a meeting on May 8th, 2023. And it was a special meeting regarding the recommendations for the funding options for dressing room renovations. And so the commission went with option 1, which was to accept Cowichan Lake Community Forest Co-op's $100,000 donation. And Cowichan Lake Sports Arena staff will move forward with dressing room upgrades within the 2023 Cowichan Lake Rec operating budget, which will include wall demolition, removal of existing cubbies, hazardous materials report, and an HVAC ventilation study. So we're going to budget up to $40,000 in 2024 to complete arena dressing room ventilation upgrades to dressing rooms 1 and 4. And regarding the cladding, there was only one bid on the cladding, and that bid was not accepted. So they're going to put this out late fall 2023. They're going to review the design again, and they will roll this project over to 2024.
Any questions? I do have one. It's already been budgeted, the plating project, so that funding will just roll over into next year's budget.
Yes.
Perfect. Any other questions? That's just for information purposes. Vancouver Island Regional Library, anything to report, Councillor?
Thank you. Yes, they just reached their agreement with QP on Friday afternoon. They were doing their sessions with that, and it's all taken care of. Our next meeting is June 3rd. It's a hybrid meeting. And that's about it for now.
Great. Thank you. Stated new for the Advisory Planning Commission.
Advisory Planning Commission. Our meeting is Thursday. We'll be talking about OCP guiding principles, parking, the parking that dominates our cities, and short-term rentals. The meeting on April 27th. There was correspondence from Janice and Craig New regarding concerns with traffic control on River Road, and we had quite a deep discussion on that. The contract planner presented his third update on the proposed revision to the OCP. And there was a motion that AB Greenville property be considered for housing under a partnership between the province and the Housing Accelerator Fund. There's quite a major discussion on that. And our meeting is actually tomorrow. It's Wednesday this week.
Thank you. And regarding AB Greenwell, I think we were approached on some crown lands within the municipal boundaries, which could be identified for the province, for that option. And I believe AB Greenwell was mentioned in that correspondence, along with two other sites within the town for the possibility of housing. That's not to say for certain that would be the location of the housing project. I think we're still of the opinion that we would like to see non-farm use for the use of the town to move public works building there, and the other non-farm use for access to Trails Edge subdivision moving forward. But they did ask for those, and we forwarded those to the province. Thank you very much. Anyone else with any questions? Absolutely.
We can, just regarding AB Greenwell, since we've touched on that, what is the status right now, like, between the town and the province?
The province is basically saying that they want to develop that housing buildings. So we are at that crossroads, having to go back to them, say that we got approval from ALC to use it for non-farm use.
So is that something that will be addressed in the near future?
That's being addressed, yeah, and we don't know where it's going to take us.
Yeah.
Once we know, we'll come back.
Thank you. And we'll continue to reach out to the proper authorities on our desire for that as that use, as that non-farm use. But at the end of the day, with the Crown land designation, the province would have the final say on what we do down there. Okay. Community Forest Co-op, there's actually a business meeting coming up this Thursday. I will not be there. My alternate Councillor Sandu will be attending, and she could report on any events that have transpired at that meeting in the next council meeting. Thank you for doing that. Cowichan Valley Regional District Board meeting. There's only one board meeting in May because of FCM. FCM starts tomorrow, and the next board and committee of the whole meetings were postponed because of attendance at those meetings. But at the committee of the whole meeting, the regional recreation governance model was discussed on some options for unrepresented jurisdictions and how they could be represented on various commissions. There's still discussion as to what the makeup of those commissions will be, whether it would be all elected officials or a mixture of public and elected. I'm adamant that our commission representation between public and elected officials has worked quite well, giving a varied view of what is needed within the recreation facility, and I will continue to lobby for that model. I think it's important that we have public input and not just elected officials at these commissions, but depending on the other members of the board and how they wish to go forward, that will be represented as it comes back. Also, the 2023 to 2025 Cowichan Watershed Draft Work Plan was presented for discussion, and a very good draft program with lots of projects that are designed within the watershed board. Vancouver Island University agricultural program funding was brought forward for discussion. And at the board, it was decided that $8,500 would go to the IU for a part-time agricultural coordinator position with a 1-year agreement. Looking at growing both food locally, having food security within the Cowichan Valley Regional District. The audited financial statements were given to the board for approval. A little bit different in the municipalities. You do have to endorse them, but regional districts don't have to endorse their audited financial statements, which I find very unusual, given they are a government entity. And a lot of regional districts don't even present their financial audit statements. The regional district brought theirs forward for our discussion at that moment. We had an update on the hospital project. And the largest concrete pour in Vancouver Island history took place over 18 hours, done by SureSpan. I can't remember the exact amount, but it was absolutely amazing getting that done and ready to go. So moving forward, myself and a number of directors will be attending FCM in Toronto starting tomorrow. And I have discussed a number of items with the CAO that I may be bringing forward with the appropriate bodies that will be attending, the bureaucrats of different ministries will be in attendance. And I think some political handshaking might bring some resolution to some of those concerns. Other than that, will be it for my report. Any questions? Perfect, thank you. And feel free to watch those, they're very entertaining. Community outreach team, Councillor Austin?
They're having a bit of a break right now. There will be no meeting until August.
Yeah. Cowichan.
I was unable to attend the meeting this month, and so our next meeting is September 14th, 2023.
Cowichan Watershed Board,
Our next meeting is May 29th.
you're getting off pretty easy tonight. Under staff reports, Chief Administrative Officer application for development permit for natural hazard lands. Legally, there's lot A, District 13, Plan VIP 64669, accept parts in VIP 66922, VIP 68015, VIP 72607, VIP 78144, VIP 88404, and VIP 88405020, Plan VIP 6253, subdivision development at Point Ideal Drive. I must say that is the longest introduction of a bylaw I have had. Mr. Fernandez, please.
Is that the bylaw or the?
The staff report, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Which, as you can tell, we've been very fortunate to have gotten a whole bunch of money on the fire slot. And one of those funding sources was used to do an overall fire smart survey of the town. And it was determined at that time that all Lake Cowichan is at wildfire risk. So we had to come up with a development permit for that. And one of the requirements is now any development will have to satisfy the requirements that we've spelled out to make sure that they're not a wildfire risk. So as you can see, there's a recommendation here at the end. And that also requires the registration of a covenant against all developments. And that's registered on title.
Perfect. So that recommendation is there. Moved by Councillor Sandu. Have a seconder, seconded by Councillor Austin. Any discussion? I think it's important when you look at the fire smart program and their assessment of Lake Cowichan is number 5 within a wildfire interface, that we do whatever we can to mitigate some of those interface possibilities. Moving forward, this will go to other subdivisions that come for approval as well. All future subdivisions.
Including simple subdivisions like 2 lots.
Okay, perfect. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion carries. Thank you. Town bylaws are next. Town of Lake Cowichan zoning amendment bylaw number 1091-2023. They may be read a third time. You need to speak to this again.
This was the subject of earlier public hearing. just needs third reading.
Moved by Counselor Sandu, seconded by Counselor Frisbee. Any discussion? Call the question, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? Now the Town of Lake Cowichan zoning amendment bylaw number 1091/2023 may be reconsidered and adopted. Moved by Counselor Austin, seconded by Counselor Sandu. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. New business. I think we have a couple of items. I'm going to start with the July 1st, 2023 celebrations, Canada Day. Did you brought this forward, Councilor Austin?
Yes, I just want everybody to know, I've just been organizing it. Obviously, all of us can be involved, whoever wants to be. I do have entertainment lined up and, the Arts Council is going to be there as well, and, the elder care will be doing their, food sales, as, excuse me, as usual. And we're just hoping for good weather, and letters were sent out to, Alistair McGregor, Sonia Firstino, Sonia always comes, and also, to the Sabbats to see if they would like to attend. That's important to include everybody, and I'm just hoping we have a good day for it.
Perfect, and you'll be placing posters throughout.
So there's not many places about posters anymore, but if anybody wants to take a couple, if they know where to put them, like if anybody has a business that you want to put them in. Ronnie Lee made them up, and there's quite a few here. I'll take one to Lorna's as well, and one's across the street. Yeah, there's quite a few. I got loads of them.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's just.
I thought it was a bit early, but we can do it now.
Sounds good, and the time of that is 11 o'clock.
11 till 2. I know Massachi's, I was asked the other night, Massachi's doing theirs 10. But that's fine, because whoever's coming can come back and forth to either one. There's no major drawback.
No, sounds good. That concludes.
I believe so.
Thank you. Appreciate your work on that. Under B, tourism 2023. Who brought that forward?
Thank you.
Oh, I just wanted an update just regarding, in the email I sent last night, just, if we had parking attendants, like,
Oh, the
set up,
second
that's
item?
all I wanted to know.
Okay. The second item you need to see,
Yeah, nothing on.
on the C item, we thought we had a deal with the commission has, didn't work out because the staffing is an issue. So we're using a local security company. And I think it would be a better deal. That's, they're local. And they are a security company.
Great. Thank you.
So there is
There's somebody.
everything in place.
Yeah. Starting the first weekend in June.
Starting the first weekend in June. Thank you. Councillor Austin, you have a question?
Well, under tourism, I just wanted to mention, I did go in and meet the young people at the info center. They both worked there before, Charlene and
Evan.
yeah. And Adam, yeah. Adam,
Evan.
Evan, okay, it's about his name. And they're well versed on things, and they're doing a good job. They've started already, and they're happy to be there.
I had an opportunity to pop in there to just say hello and ask about numbers that they've had attending, and they're keeping great records of who comes and what they're looking for, and we'll get a synopsis of that at the end of the season when they bring that forward through the manager for our debrief. Councillor Frisbee, I saw your hand.
Just in regards to summer parking, so I know last time we were ticketing, we're using Robin's ticketing system.
Yeah.
So what kind of systems are we using?
It'll be the towns.
Okay, we're just gonna have our.
We have tickets, we have tickets.
Okay.
And that,
Nice.
absolutely.
Can we then, through our website and our Facebook page, whatever, just announce that this is gonna be starting the first
Seasonal parking.
seasonal parking
Yeah, we
restrictions?
can do,
Perfect.
and I guess the issue is they will also have their security truck parked there.
Yeah.
and in different locations, so people are aware.
As long as they move it every 2 hours, I think we're okay with that.
And the other thing is, we want to make sure that, we also, I'm in the process of looking if I can get a tow truck located where. If there's a company that's willing to do it.
Thank you for looking for an alternate. Aside from commissioners, I think it's important that we at least have a presence issue.
And a little,
Sounds good. Great. We also, is that, sorry.
So just on parking, I know that, I've talked to, the RCMP before about towing. And they have the power to do it, but they're always worried that if they were to take cars out of here, there's people that are stuck here.
Yeah.
So that's a
we're
concern.
gonna be careful on it. We
Yeah,
probably going to give them a warning first.
yeah.
Don't want to inconvenience. others.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That concludes questions on that. We did have a leave of absence request for Councillor Bomaka. She texted me earlier that she was not feeling well. Didn't want to spread it to me as I'm traveling tomorrow. No, that's not what she said. So if we could have a leave of absence for Councillor Bomaka. Moved by Councillor Frisbee, seconded by Councillor Sandu. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion carries. Thank you. There's no actual mayor's report until next month, but I'm sorry, Councillor Austin.
You forgot community engagement, I had addition.
I did forget that email from
Is that okay?
community engagement. Thanks for the reminder. Would you like to bring that forward?
I think everybody got a copy of that. I did go to the first one and gave a little bit of a report about that. This is Poverty Reduction Action Planning Forum. It's hosted by Cowichan Housing. It was very interesting. It was pretty heavy stuff going on, but it's very interesting and I'd like to attend, and anyone else obviously just need permission to attend.
So June 12th.
June 12th at 12:30 to 4:30. The first one was early in the morning and this one's a little bit better. I think they changed it to accommodate more people.
So we're looking for a recommendation for those who wish to attend. To be able to attend the June 12th seminar, 12:30 to 4:30. Moved by Councillor Sandu, second by Councillor Frisbee. Now, who's interested in going? I believe Councillor Austin and Sandu were,
I work on Mondays, so I mean.
so you'll be attending.
Yeah, it was Wednesday last time, so I'm kind of glad it's Monday, but because Wednesday I can't go,
I
but
look forward to.
thank you.
We're back. Thank you.
Sure,
Sorry, I missed that.
that's okay.
And again, no mayor's reports until next month, but I did want to speak about the May long weekend and yeah, signage that was put out by local businesses encouraging people not to tube on the Cowichan River, considering the high flows and cold waters. And I think we lucked out with the actual weather was not as hot as forecast. I reached out to our local sergeant and asked how the weekend went, and she was very pleased with the lack of calls that they did get. I think by everyone sharing that the message got out. It was picked up by CFAX, by Times Columns. I had an opportunity for a global Zoom meeting on the topic Friday, I believe, but I was not in the service area. But I appreciate all the businesses that put up signs in their windows suggesting that now is not the time to do it. And also, I'd like to just give a big shout out to the organizers of Heritage Days. I think that was nice to see people back in Sable Park and the logging trucks celebrating our industrial history within the community. Nice to see people down there and gathering and book sales, et cetera, et cetera. So it's the start of a busy season, and let's hope we survive this one. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to again say thank you to those that were involved in getting the message out there. I think the signs also made a huge difference in the locations and whatnot. And and seeing our CAO's name on Global News on my big TV screen. See Joseph Fernandez, CAO, with his message. I was like, look at there he is, he's famous. Anyway, but it was just everybody just putting the message out there, and I think that's why it was successful, is as much as we could do, we did, and people adhered to the warnings, so.
Yes, Councillor Austin.
It just reminded me, I met, so I was at Heritage Days, I met the chap from Global. He's a freelance and he was taking pictures of everything, and he actually had stopped some people from going down by warning them, and they said, well, they were on holidays and they weren't watching the news, so they didn't know. And when he left our place, he was going to the Puntledge River and taking pictures there. He does freelance. He lives in Chemainus now. He moved down from Nanaimo. So he was quite interesting. He talked to a lot of people at the same time.
But also thanks to staff for getting that
Yeah.
out on their social media and giving that update as well. I think we dodged a bullet there, and the river is slowing down. It's at 15 now, I believe, 15 cubic meters per second, so. Move forward and tubing will happen when it's appropriate. No notices of motion? Question period. So we had asked for questions to be emailed. If you had questions to general@lakecouchman.ca, I will turn to staff and see if there has been any inquiries via email.
No,
I see shaking their heads. But if you do have questions on tonight's agenda, please feel free to forward them to general@lakecouchman.ca. And we will try to provide an appropriate answer in an appropriate timeline. No in camera this evening, Joseph?
No.
Looking for adjournment. Councillor Frisbee, Councillor Austin. This meeting adjourned. Thank you, staff. Fellow councillors.
That's it. I think our last regular was even faster.
Okay, what's up? You got Broadway.
Warren over here.
Is it,
I heard that.
have you been?
Where?
Unplugged.